Welcome to One Man's Tracks, the secondhand music channel. Now that I've kind of settled myself back in here in Canada, back in BC, I'd like to take a minute here with my new buddy Tupac and go over some of the great shows I got to see while out in Europe this past summer. So without further ado, let's get right into the first thing I went to, which was the Best Kept Secret Festival. Best Kept Secret is a festival hosted in Bekski, Belgium. It's a place in Tilburg, the Netherlands. I got the opportunity to just grab the very last day of the festival, so an incredible stacked lineup for just that last day, but ultimately the whole festival was stacked and I missed out on seeing some incredible bands that I would have loved to see. And so maybe if I ever end up in that area again around that time, I'm certainly going to give this festival a go. Highly recommend if you're in the north mid-European regions to make the trip down, because man, what a lineup. The bands I didn't get to see included the Chemical Brothers, probably the biggest one I regret not being able to be there for. Young Fathers was there, Unknown Mortal Orchestra was there, The Voids, 1975 was there, Alex G, Caroline Pelagic, oh, that would have been a dream. Black Country New Road would have been so cool to see. Even Two Door Cinema Club, well, I think I would have enjoyed that as well. There's a bunch of other ones I missed out on. I think it's a 5-stage festival, and so we're finally here, getting into the bands I actually got to see, starting out with a dope band called Crack Cloud. This was my first introduction to these guys. I still don't know much about them. I've listened to their album a few times since, but the live experience here was certainly a step up from the recorded material as far as I'm concerned. The drummer is the singer, there's all kinds of instrumentations, they even had a little choir accompanying them. It was a great show, multi-instrumental madness and in your face, great energy, really punchy stuff, and maybe I've got a clip to show you. Now, because I knew this festival was coming up and I knew I was only going to be able to get one day in, I did a lot of research and checked through all the bands that I had the opportunity to check off my list. And Julia Jacquelin's album from 2018 or 2019, Crushing, was just a revelation when I first heard it. What an incredible breakup album, maybe one of my favorites of that entire year. Her new album from 2022, Pre-Pleasure, was also full of nice little indie folk bop, so she was on the list. We had to check her out, and it was quite the pleasant indie folk rock show. Fairly low-key compared to maybe some of the other acts there, but still lovely, and her voice really pierces through. What a great Australian up-and-coming singer-songwriter, worth checking out if you have the chance. My only regret when it comes to Julia's concert is she didn't play probably my favorite song of hers, You Were Right. It's quick, it's fun, it's such a catchy little number that I just can't get out of my head, but she played all kinds of other great stuff. The incredible I Don't Know How to Stop Loving You, or Turn Me Down. Fantastic cuts, check them out. Moving on to Kurt Vile and the Violators. Kurt Vile played a lot of his new stuff from his new album, Watch My Moves, and as well as tracks from his previous release, Bottle It Up, including the great track Back Ass Words.
I was on the beach, and I was thinking about the bed. Got to the bed, the body was far away.
And then he closed out his set with a few tracks from a few of his other records, like Walkin' in a Pretty Daze, as well as the big hit, maybe his biggest hit, Pretty Pimpin', and then Hunchback, a track I hadn't heard from his Childhood Prodigy record. Here's a clip from that show. Kind of not the best setting, I guess, to see Kurt Vile, but some cool smoke effects, a little bit windy, so just blowing on by. It's a vibe, and had some fans around me that were into it, so that kind of makes the show a lot better. Moving on to what was probably the second best performance of the night. It's hard to rank some of the last few, but man, Japanese Breakfast was amazing. What a show. What a revelation. This is a great band. I believe her name is Michelle Zonher, and what a stage presence. My goodness, she was connected. She was just having the best time, and she was sharp, and oh my goodness, that latest album, Jubilee, it's loaded, and I think she played 7 or so songs from it. It was amazing. Her back catalog's also great. Psycho Pomp and Soft Songs from Another World, Another Planet, sorry. Just really great stuff. So thrilled to have seen her live. I hope I got a good clip. To put a good representation of just how connected and how just powerful this performance was. Japanese Breakfast, high on my recommendation list. Check her out. Then we moved on to the only Canadian act that played at the festival, Alvvays, just coming in off the back of that Blue Rev release and just bringing the fire. The crowd was just into it. It was electric. It was a lot of good times. Man, they had some great energy and they brought it. Such a good show. A lot of fun. Alvvays rocks. Gotta love that Canadian representation, and even found a Canadian fan in the whole midst of it all. So that was a very fun show. Made some great friends and headed towards the highlight of the entire night. I made my way back across the festival grounds to attend the show I was there to see. It was these guys right here. The Mars Volta were playing. There was an hour slot to see these guys, just an hour to see them, so they only played 6 songs, but my God, what an electric, magic show of progressive rock, hardcore mania. My goodness, it was tight, it was lit, and they started me off with probably the one song I wanted to see live. They got me into the haunt of Roulette Dare. And I just lost myself for the next hour. I think we got Elvia, we got The Widow, we got Cicatrix, and then we got, I think, Shore Story from the latest album. And I think they also played Inertiatic. They didn't play Inertiatic, they played Drunk Ship of Lanterns. My goodness, it was magical. I am still reliving the show. I am still playing those songs in my head over and over again. I met up with a couple of Volta fans and we just rocked that house. Holy moly. I just couldn't believe it. And then there was even more show following that. Here's a quick clip. Maybe even another clip if I can't help myself, because oh my goodness. experience. I cannot imagine it being any more amazing. That hour was spectacular. We moved on from that to see, I believe, an hour and a half of Aphex Twin. Now, following the Mars Volta is not an easy task, but an act as legendary as Aphex Twin, there was no going wrong. I believe I saw a clip of either Cedric or Omar having a video with him watching that Aphex show right after, and so it's a draw. And oh my goodness, I can hardly remember it because it just flowed and rocked, and I danced the entire time. Came out of it exhausted and just thrilled and could not get the grin off my face. What a show. I just really was speechless at this point. I had danced, I had screamed my heart out, and I was just elated. And then there was Roy Stop, I can't even pronounce it. It's another electronic act that I didn't have the energy or the capacity to even process at that point. What a day, what a festival. I just cannot believe I got the chance to go there. So happy. And I got to see a couple more shows on this trip. That wasn't even the end of it. Like I'd mentioned, only an hour of Volta, but so enthralling and so magnificent that I was sort of satisfied, I guess, but I looked up the dates where they'd be next on tour, and they were going to make their way to Berlin, and I was going to make my way to Berlin, and so the trek was on. 2 or 3 weeks later, I can't quite remember, I was there once again, sitting in line and meeting all kinds of sick people from all over the world. Some amazing Volta fans, just music fans in general, and it was another blast. I couldn't resist. We got more Volta, and I had to get more Volta. It turned out to be their last solo European show. Terry Genderbender opened up for them. And they really sunk into the jams with this one. They dug in deep and they just rocked for 2.5 hours straight, just weaving their way from track to track, from almost the entirety of D-Loused, a bunch of Francis, a couple of their new tracks, as well as opening up with Vicarious Atonement. It was unbelievable once again.
And I hear him every night, in every hole, every time he just makes me
top to bottom, just grooving and moving and screaming and moshing. And just by the end of it, I was drenched, and I had met even more friends, and after the show we went and sat by the river and just talked bands and artists and just went nuts with it, and managed to go our separate ways by maybe 2-3 in the morning. Just an unbelievable night, an unforgettable show once more. These guys do not disappoint. My God, it does not feel like they're as old as they are, and they've been at it for as long as they have. They have, I guess, a refreshed drummer with Philo there, the not quite Berlin local, and they have Leo Genovese, I think, on bass, or no, he's not on bass, he's the saxophonist. The bassist is the guy from Hoobastank right now, at least for touring purposes, and Marcel's hanging out there with Cedric and Omar. It is amazing. It's such an incredible, progressive, flowing experience of just psychedelic, entrancing jam. Such an incredible show, such great people, maybe besides that one guy who threw a drink, which oh my goodness, we're not going to get into it. It was magic. I love the Mars Volta. I cannot get all their incredible songs out of my head, and it's actually been difficult diving back into new artists because I just want to listen to more Volta. These guys have become almost an obsession at this point, so we've decided to put the next focus on a sort of similar band, a group of bands in fact. The next group of bands I will be diving into are the ones that belong to Maynard the Man Keenan. And the last show I got to see while I was in Europe, this time in Hamburg, just as I happened to be there, so was Puscifer. And I hadn't even realized until I was walking by the doors of this venue, and I heard through this open door some pretty radical sounding rock music that was mathematical, a little funky, a little groovy, and the sound was incredible even from outside the show. And looked up at the marquee, and yeah, what do you know, it's Puscifer playing just as I happened to be there. Unfortunately, I didn't have the tickets. The show was already underway, and so I kind of just sat outside, pissed off the security a little bit, tried not to piss them off too much, let's be honest. I was just there, and I was vibing, and people were coming by asking, who's playing? What's that sound? I'd be like, it's Maynard, because the security didn't have any idea. I was going nuts. I was like, don't you know Tool? Don't you know Perfect Circle? Come on, it's Maynard. Maynard's right here. And so eventually I saw the smoke pit and was like, I'm going to get me a t-shirt. I'm going to go convince one of those guys that I'll give them some cash, they can go in, swipe me one of these shirts, and I'll at least have some evidence that I saw him through a door and I was in the same place, and I want to support the guy. He's an incredible artist. So I was messing around over there, and one of the security guys calls me over and says, hey, do you want to go in? I think I got a space for you. And so for the encore, which is like a six song encore, I got to go see for free. I got to walk in and I got to listen to, I think he played a song from almost every single Puscifer album at this point. I went and even bought myself a copy of Existential Reckoning Reloaded, the remixed version. I should have had it right here. Remixed album of Puscifer's latest record. You saw it. It was in another video. I already referenced it. So check that one out if you haven't. Just a bunch of albums I picked up while on tour. And that was another just magic point in the trip. I got to see Maynard. I got to see a good half of the show from outside the venue, and then I got to see the encore from inside, and oh, what an amazing night. What a lucky happenstance, and I just wish I had been a little more on top of things and gotten there sooner and paid the 60 or so euros to get in at the start. I actually ended up breaking the rules a little bit. I didn't realize, because we came in late, that I wasn't supposed to take any pictures or videos until the last song when he lets people do that. And so here's this sneaky little video that I shouldn't have, but here it is. Apologize, Maynard. I wasn't there. I didn't hear. I was just fanning out. I was excited. It was a fun show from what I could see. The cool little skits that I got to see that he puts on in between, little costume changes. It is a cool show as well. I know they're touring the States right now, and I would love for them to come up to Vancouver, do that Perfect Circle, Puscifer. I think they're even going with Primus right now. Oh, I want to see it so bad, but they're not coming anywhere close yet. I'd love to see him again. Either way, if you want more Maynard in your life, I'm going to be talking about all three of his current active bands. I'm going to be going through all their discographies. I believe I'm going to try to make a video ranking everything from those, just the studio albums, and maybe an EP or two. I don't know. It's a lot to go through. I've been having a good time going through it, and I'm gaining a new appreciation for some of his other works, and just getting enthralled by some of that Tool stuff. Look forward to that. I'll link it in the description when it's done. For now, check out a couple of those reviews of those artists that I didn't get to see. Maybe the Mars Volta review down there. I'll put it here. Go check out another one. Subscribe for more throwback, secondhand music, whatever. This is just a fun little one-off. Maybe if I see some more shows and you like this video, I'll make more show update videos. But either way, hopefully it wasn't too rambly. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Probably was. I love you for watching all the way. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Everything will be alright.